Hi, this is Quatima Spearman, an Eastern University student, and I am doing a presentation and slideshow on urban education, formative and summative assessment within urban education. Every day and throughout the day, we are testing our students and wanting to know what they know. And these are the two most common ways that we assess student learning in urban education. Today, you will learn about the two forms of assessment used in urban education and why do we use these assessments. What are the benefits of using formative and summative assessments? There are also some common formative and summative assessment used in the state of Pennsylvania that I will talk about in this presentation. What is formative assessments? According to Yale Education Center for Teacher Learning, formative assessments could be used to drive students' goals and students' learning. It is to shape and form their learning in various ways. There are many ways that we can assess students formatively, and here are some examples, and here's also another definition. Why we use it is because it seeks to ultimately improve classroom results. It focuses on bridging the gap. It focuses on the in-the-moment assessments of student learning, so then teachers can use that information and then go back and edit their own lesson plans and curriculum. So another definition is the goal of formative assessments is to monitor students' learning and to provide ongoing feedback that can be used by the instructors to improve their teaching and by students to improve their learning. So the ultimate goal is to improve the learning of the students, to improve the learning in the teaching, because we need to know in the moment, are our students getting the right information from the context? We cannot wait until the very end. We need the in-the-moment feedback for if students are understanding what we are doing. So there are many benefits for both the teacher and the students. For the students, it helps to identify their strengths and their weaknesses, and it helps us because we know what to target in our instruction. Currently at my school this year, a big part of doing that is giving due nows, which I will talk about later, or exit tickets, exit prices. It talks about the in-the-moment assessments for the teachers so we can know how our students are doing. It also helps facilitate and we recognize where students are struggling so we can address those problems and just have a better understanding of their academic needs. So here are some examples of formative assessments. Usually in formative assessments, you can have an in-class discussion. You can also do group work. I know in my classroom, I do it where each student has a goal. For example, one person will be the coach, and that person's job is to make sure that everyone is participating. Then you have a reporter. A reporter is reporting everything down that the group is discussing. You also have a manager who is in charge of time, and then you have a passer who also pass out the materials. So within group work, there are group roles, but group work is also to assess what the students know on that particular topic in that moment. You have quizzes, you have reflection assignments, and this can be as simple as writing down a response to the lesson. You also have student surveys, and then there's also homework, that extra practice, that extra material for the students to take what they learn and then to go home and apply that skill. And then you check that homework to see if they mastered it or not. So then formative assessments can also be gathered from the teacher. A teacher can observe students and collect evidence. A teacher can do improve their unit plan and their lessons with question strategies, and also, as I talked about previously, exit slips or do nows, which are to determine a student's understanding of the day's lesson, or quick checks during instruction. Another form of assessment that I will talk about throughout this presentation is summative assessments. Summative assessments are usually given at the end. They are periodically to determine a particular point in time what students know and do not know. And in the state of Pennsylvania, we have many summative assessments that are used to measure students' performance. Another definition and another way you can also understand summative assessments is to evaluate a student's learning at the end of an instructional unit by comparing it against standards and benchmarks. Within urban education and throughout the state of Pennsylvania, we have the PSSA, which is the Pennsylvania System of School Assessments. This kind of summative assessment helps not only students, but parents, educators, and citizens with an understanding of how a student did perform. And also, this test is aligned with the academic standards of the state in Pennsylvania, which are Common Core. Who will take the test? Usually students in grades 3 through 8 will take the test in subjects of English, math, and science. I know that 4th and 8th graders do take the science PSSA. It also helps with schools and district curriculum instruction, and overall, these summative assessments are looked at as what can the school do, what could the teachers do, what could the classroom environment, how can it be better? So PSSA gives us a guideline of what the students know, what they do not know, and how we can make improvements from that data. There are many assessments within the state of Pennsylvania, and they are all aligned to the Pennsylvania Common Core standards. You have the PSSA, which I talked about, but then you also have the Pennsylvania Alternative Systems Assessment, and this assessment for students with special needs. It could be learning disabilities, it could be hearing impairment. It's another alternative way for students to take this test and to also get that data of what they know and what they do not know. In regards to high school, there are the Keystone exams, and then you also have other exams such as the Classroom Diagnostic Tool and the National Assessment of Education Progress. The Keystone exams are linked to the Pennsylvania standards, and they are taken at the end of the course for high school grades. There are two purposes of taking the Keystone exams. First, the assessments are for federal and state purposes. Another one is for students' graduate requirements. Also, students are taking this test in various subjects such as biology, algebra, literature, and math. So there are more examples of summative assessments, which could be throughout the classroom, throughout the year, at the end, which are final projects, standardized tests, which I talked about before, essays, and reports. So this concludes my overall presentation of formative assessments and also summative assessments and what they are, why do we use them, and the benefits that we have from them. Students will be able to learn so much, and teachers and schools will be able to know what students know. We will be able to make improvements on what our students need to succeed in their day-to-day classroom instruction.